Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. I'm Monty Belmonte.
And I'm Khalees Smith. Antenna Cloud Farm is as much an idea as it is a place situated on a picturesque hilltop in Gill.
They are a non-profit who describe themselves as an arts-centered ecosystem and cultural hub that focuses on presenting world-class, vision-based live programming in partnership with local organizations doing impactful work in realms of social, racial, food, and climate justice.
We are joined by the director and curator of Antenna Cloud Farm in Gill, Michi Wiancko. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we're here to talk about the opening days of your 2024 season. We were just hearing a little music by Patricia Santos, who is part of this opening. But tell us about, first of all, the founding of Antenna Cloud Farm. What brought you to this hill in Gill after working? Your CV was too long to list, like all the
There's too many
accolades
things.
and orchestras you've worked with.
And again, I saw you at Big Ears, and it was hilarious because I went to see the Silk Road Ensemble at Mill and Mine and looked up with my friends I was there with, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know that person.
Oh my gosh.
And then I took a picture and I immediately texted it to Monty, and it just said, Michi's on stage with Rhiannon Giddens.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
who's now has the baton of the
Yes.
Silk Road Ensemble that
Yes.
Yo-Yo Ma founded. So these are the people that we're talking about.
That was a fantastic concert, by the way.
Oh,
I couldn't tell
thanks.
you because that would have been weird.
You could have literally screamed it out, and I would have been, Khalees!
But why Gill and how?
We were drawn to Gill for so many reasons. We were initially drawn to Franklin County. And before moving here, I actually called a bunch of different cultural councils in different towns. And the people in the Gill Cultural Council, I asked them this question, like, how do you feel about music? And how would you feel about having an arts-based program here in Gill? And they were all so excited about it. And so I think just the feeling that Gill has, there's a lot of people doing really interesting things. There's amazing farming happening, art making, a lot of music going on. So it feels like it's the perfect place for us. And so what I wanted to start was a really holistic festival, meaning that everybody involved, from the artists to the staff to the audience and the collaborators and the sponsors, engaging in a really holistic way, like bringing their whole selves to the table. So not transactional, all about longevity and long-term relationships. We pamper our artists. We cook for them. We have volunteers who cook for them. We cook for our audiences sometimes. We curate the concerts so that they're aligned with the setting sun. We do all kinds of wild stuff.
I was there one time, and the sun set, and there were fireworks in Turner's Falls,
That's right.
and you were above the fireworks but could look down on them from Antenna Cloud Farm. It was really cool. Yeah.
I mean, having a music program, regardless, is really wonderful, but why make one of the tenets of Antenna Cloud Farm food justice?
I think that music has this opportunity to help us connect to where we are. We're so used to traveling all over the place, and I think in general feeling a little disembodied and disconnected from where our food comes from, where it's being grown, who's growing it, and we're seeing, the negative consequences of that. I think in the town of Gill, there is so much passion around, Franklin County and Western Massachusetts in general. This is kind of like food growing mecca. I think of it that way. And in Gill, our tiny little farming, right to farm community, there are just these incredible farms, like, many of whom are our sponsors, like Up and Gill Farm, Everyday Farm, and people who work closely with farmers like People's Pint, Real Pickles. These are all our long-term partners and food sponsors. And I think having an opportunity to bring artists in and have them just eat food that was grown within a couple miles of where we live, sometimes just like a mile, can be a really life-changing experience for them. We do a lot of work in the community. We work with youth, students, and talking to them about food has been really a really cool thing to kind of mix with like a musical workshop or a musical, just combining agriculture and art, I think is where it's at. And I feel like Western Massachusetts is the perfect place for that.
We're talking with Michi Wiancko from Antenna Cloud Farm in Gill. The opening session of the summer season is this Saturday, June 29th, at Antenna Cloud Farm's outdoor stage. Who's going to be there as the first performer this year?
This will be Majel Connery. We are so, so excited. She's just a next-level singer, composer, songwriter. She's bringing this fabulous collaborator, Patricia Santos, who sings and plays cello at the same time in this really amazing way. And Meja will be bringing a song cycle that is sort of a love song to the earth and to the environment. And so we have timed her concert to be happening while the sun is setting behind her over the valley.
Amazing.
So we're very excited about that.
Yeah.
Full body musical experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then the next day, to kick off the opening weekend,
Yes, the next day we are inviting Anju, who is actually a fellow of the Experimental Institute, a former fellow, which is an institute that takes place at Antenna Cloud Farm in August every year. We're going into our third season this year. And Anju is an incredible singer, songwriter, art maker, community builder, collaborator. They will be bringing two incredible, this is the thing, we have these like our headlining artists, and then they all bring their friends with them, and their friends are just like brilliant visionary geniuses. So there's so much icing on top of everything. But Anju will be bringing Devin Gates, who is an upright bass player, virtuoso upright bass player, and a vocalist, as well as Luciana Garcia, who is an amazing pianist. And so the three of them will be doing original work by Anju in our more intimate indoor setting, which does also have views of the valley and some lush greenery for extra inspiration as the concert backdrop.
nice.
What happens when it rains?
Oh, we all freak out. No, I'm just kidding. Well,
That might just be trauma from this past weekend talking.
I know. I was thinking about you guys. I
Yeah.
was like, I hope they're staying.
2 shelters in place.
Yeah.
That's 2 more than ever has happened at the Green River for me.
Honestly, though, rain. Well, we've done all kinds of crazy things. We once moved a 200 audience concert to our indoor stage, which fits about 75, and we spread it out amongst several concerts. We were freaking out about it until this year, where we are now collaborating with the amazing Shea Theater, who are contributing their space as our potential rain location.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Shea Theater in Turners Falls. We're so proud to be like living 5 minutes away from this amazing venue, which we have some scheming and dreaming happening for future collaborations.
Oh, even better.
Yes.
Well, I want to hear more about the Experimental Institute, which I have jokingly referred to as a laboratory. And we also want to hear some music from Michi Wiancko. But why don't we take a little break right here? More about Antenna Cloud Farm with Michi Wiancko, the director and curator, in just a little bit.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
So I don't get too jittery.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. We're here with Michi Wiancko from Antenna Cloud Farm, whose 2024 season will begin in Gill this weekend. As we mentioned before, Michi is an incredible performer in her own right and has worked with all of the heavy hitters of the world of orchestral music and so many great orchestras.
And not orchestral music,
I know.
too.
Yes, you were going to be working with Wilco, maybe, or there were like at
Oh,
least a
we
little,
did a few years ago. Yeah.
So that ties right in nicely.
Yeah, but like since we have such a renowned musician in the studio, we can't not just give them the floor to perform if they're open to it. Are you open to it?
I am.
Awesome, go for it.
Okay. Should I say a couple things about what I'm going to do?
Please.
So I play on this 5-string violin sometimes. I also play on a standard 4-string classical violin instrument. But I've got this fun 5-string which has a low C string. And I do this for all kinds of stuff, playing with bands and composing and things like that. But it's unusual enough that there is sort of no repertoire. You'll probably get some callers calling in telling me I'm wrong. There is repertoire, and I would love to know about it. But there's no, there's not a lot of music that I have come across that's written for the 5-string. So what I have done, until I have time to compose a piece for myself, which I currently do not, I improvise. So I'm going to just improvise. Thank you.
Beautiful. So cool.
For the first and only time ever, an original piece by Michi Wiancko, who is the curator and director of Antenna Cloud Farm, improvising that on a 5-string violin.
But I have to say, this is the second time in this week that I've seen this 5-string violin. Kat from Twisted Pine was playing one both for their set, for her set with us, and then at the square dance at the end. And I was looking at it from upstairs and going, wait a minute, are there 5 strings on that violin?
Yeah, well, you got to get you guys
it turns
together.
out-
They're
Yeah,
from Boston,
seriously.
too.
Amazing.
But what's interesting is you at Antenna Cloud Farm and the Experimental Institute work with all these virtuosic musicians that have been classically trained by and large, Juilliard, the big name schools, but get them to improvise just like that.
That's the goal.
Because that is not usually part of the training. When
is
in the rock
absolutely.
genre and jazz genres and all these other genres, improvising is a huge part of it.
Yeah. If you want to instill just immediate fear in a classically trained musician who has been pretty like straight down the classical path, take their music away and ask them to make something up on their instrument, and it's scary. It can be scary.
It's amazing because, as we mentioned, you have done so many highly decorated things, but your husband, Judd, has as well. And you just told us
You
that
had never really played together.
you never improvised
We've
together.
never we have played together.
Right.
We actually used to have a little husband-wife duo called Sounding Weights. that didn't last long just because we got really, really busy with our respective projects. But the other night, for fun, we had some friends over. He got on the piano, I brought out my 5-string, and we were like, this could literally be a disaster. This could be just like not pretty. But luckily, turns out we have a very similar musical language, and it was great.
It's amazing that a couple that's been married and doing this for so long hasn't had that experience before. It's wonderful, actually. I think it's great.
Sometimes you forget that you haven't done it.
Like, I actually, honestly, Judd, if you're hearing this, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how good of an I didn't realize he could actually improvise on piano.
Yeah.
I knew he could do a little. I didn't know he could kind of like go deep with it. So,
nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yay.
Well, we hopefully Judd will join us next time. I
Great.
will publicly apologize to you, Judd. I always just email Michi, but I always assume that she's.
Oh no, he's home watching the kids. No, he'll come in anytime.
Bring them too.
Yeah.
It's all part of the fun family that's at Antenna Cloud Farm on a hill in Gill, and this Saturday is the opening of the 2024 summer season with Majel Connery. Sunday, Anju. Mm-hmm. And then stuff happening Friday, July 5th in downtown Turner's at Unnameable Books with Wilder Ayers, who's been on this show. Mm-hmm. And there's stuff going to be happening with Kimaya Diggs on July 6th. And Friction Quartet on July 7th.
And then a whole institute happening leading up to my birthday, which is exciting.
Can we come visit the institute like I did that one time and meet some of the musicians?
Open invitation, yeah, for sure.
Michi Wiancko, the director and curator of Antenna Cloud Farm. And Gill, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Wednesday on the Fabulous 413, friend of the show, famous minor television personality John Hodgman. We'll hear about his work curating the Solid Sound Festival, which will be at this weekend, and where and when he and his Judge John Hodgman podcast will be taping live here in the 413.
And we welcome back local author and illustrator Tony DiTerlizzi, who has another TV series headed our way. After the success of the Roku show, The Spiderwick Chronicles, we'll chat with him about his new series, Wandla, just before its premiere on Apple Plus TV.
And the Word Nerd returns, which will be fun.
It will make the show funner.
It will make the show the funnest. Are we allowed to say those?
Funner and funnest?
Yeah.
We'll find out tomorrow. I'm Monty Belmonte.
I'm Khalees Smith. We'll see you tomorrow on the Fabulous 413.